So here is just a quick walkthrough of how I'm animating. It's a difficult thing to describe in text. Thought I'd do a little video here. So here is Adobe Animate. This software sucks. It really does. It sucks because it randomly crashes because it hasn't been updated in a while. The software itself is just a little bit janky. It's quite simple, which I guess simple is good for me because I don't have previous animating experience. Um, but yeah, so you know, it's been a little bit of a struggle trying to get used to this software and dealing with its downfalls. But we get there, we move. So I'll just start off talking about the layers very quickly. So I sort of learned doing this through this whole process, and I've spoken about it a little bit in the sketchbook, I think, written about it. Everything has to be layered up. I learnt this quite early on. This is something I've kind of learnt from my mate Louis here, who I've filmed, who's a good animator, does this style of animation, not rotoscoping, but drawn animation quite a lot, where everything has to be layered. The color, the outline of him here at the top, the different outlines. When I was learning, how I was going to color the background, how I was going to do that, I realized quite quickly that the outline of everything, simple outline that carries a lot of weight. It's an important part of it. Let me just turn the opacity down of the reference layer here so you can see. Um, that has to be obviously on top of the color, and they have to be separate things just to make your life much easier. So where's the background color here? So there you can see the background color. I'll just get rid of Louis' outline for a minute, and there's the outline there well on top of it at the top of the pile here. And then we've got the color for Louis sitting here. Surrounding layers, ignore this one here. This is sort of an old one. I'll show you when I was alternating these surrounding parts, the bottom and the top, alternating every 4 frames here, one, two, three, four, and going one, two, one, two, one, two. And I sort of I did a page on this in Sketchbook, I'm pretty sure. This looks a little janky. So I've tried. I'm not 100% convinced actually on if I even want the moving background or not, and how quickly it should be for you moving around. But I've tried. I'll switch these around. I've tried. I'll give it a play. I've tried doing every 2 frames instead, so it's a lot faster than alternating every 4. So we'll see how this looks a little bit later down the line. I'm not convinced either way. Maybe I'll just leave it on 1 frame and just leave it at that. I'm not sure. That sort of most important part of this, I guess, is our reference layer here, which I haven't labeled. It's just layer 3. Um, let's get rid of everything else so that you can see it. There we are. So I'm usually this is existing half opacity or something so that I can draw over it a little easier. And I'll bring out the outline and zoom in a little bit for you. I really like sort of scrubbing through like this. It's quite satisfying. Pretty easy work, really. It's just long. So the way I do it is I do the outline first, this top layer here, and then I do the color. Then that just sort of sits on top of everything else. It sits on top of the background colors. What you do is you import the video. I've told the program that it's 6 frames a second. So when I import the video, I just tell it to match the FPS of the video to 6 frames a second. So obviously the video itself is 24. So what it's done is it's gotten rid of a bunch of frames. It's turned the video into 6 frames a second, which is super useful. It's the main reason for using this program. It's pretty good. The issue is with it being a bit janky is that it will just randomly crash on me like with no warning, and then which is okay, sure, if it's saved and you bring it back up, great, it's fine. You haven't lost any work. But what happens is, oh, see, it does this also save for recovery thing, which I don't trust. So I'm doing a lot of manual saving because, yeah, I just got PTSD from it crashing so much. But when it crashes and then I open it back up, this reference layer is still there, but it's forgotten that it needs to be cut up into 6 frames a second. It defaults back to the video being 24 frames a second. So I'll scrub through, and my version of Louis here is moving at, the same 6 frames a second like this. But the video isn't. So it's just like, oh, damn it. So I have to re-import it, line it all up. And it's a real pain. So that's happened quite a lot in the recent past. I will just go through very quickly how I'm doing these frame by frame. So let's bring up the color. So I've done these frames here already outlined. Well, his torso is missing there, but this one's done, the outline. So we have to move on to the color. So we've got the color here. What I'm normally doing, if there isn't much difference between movement from one frame to the next, and there's a decent bit of difference here, but his body shape and the way he's standing pretty much stays the same. He's just moving off to the right a little bit there. So what I like to do if I can is to copy. So I'm selecting this previous frame, copying it, going to the next frame, pasting, and then there we go. We've got just that color layer pasted. So I can simply just move that over to him. And obviously we're not done because it doesn't line up quite the same, but you can see it's all pretty much there. So I've literally just got to go through and rubber out the bits on the side here, fill in this bit. Um, yeah, easy, really. It just takes a while. Annoyingly, this is another stupid thing about this program. I don't know whether or not this is actually just not possible in animation programs, but it's annoying how I can't just, with this layer selected, rub out just this layer. For some reason, it includes the top one of his outline, which is frustrating because every time I want to rub out, I have to do that to the outline layer, get rid of it, and then rub out, and then check, have I done that right? Yeah, okay, I've done that right. So annoying, but gotten used to it. So again, I just do that to his foot down here. And I find this bit quite satisfying. It's nice to not have to do loads of work frame by frame with the color. Um, I mean, the color overall probably takes longer than everything else because each frame is obviously slightly different to the next. And I've noticed the more and more I've been doing this, more time I've spent with it, the more I've learnt. And they speak about this in the Scanner Darkly documentary. The more I've learnt how important it is to get the lighting right and the lighting moving around his face and his body. I was doing a lot of that copying pasting technique and just sort of rubbing out the outlines and just sort of leaving all these lighter and darker patches the same frame by frame or for too many frames. And then sort of yeah, I play it back and I realize, well, maybe that's not quite right. See this bit here, that's not quite right. I've done a copy and paste there, and it's just yeah. So at the end of the day, it matters just how fluid it looks when you play it back. And once I export these frame by frame images, JPEGs, and then put them into Premiere and mess about with it in Premiere a bit, often I do change the frame rate just a little bit. I'll import each frame will last like a little bit longer. So when I play this back, it plays back quite fast. This is not really the speed that I would be playing it back in Premiere. I would tell the sequence I'd change the sequence settings to 5 frames a second, which sounds shorter, but really that means like one PNG here would last for 5 frames in a 24 frame sequence. It's a little bit slower than this, which is what we want, because the movements, yeah, it all just matters like how well it marries up to the real life movements accurately and make it convincing. So yeah, that is why leads me on to this little section here. The way that he moves closer to the camera in real life and that sort of real life dimension, he doesn't really move to the left here like he does in this take. So what he does is he stands up. Can I, yeah, press play? He stands up and he moves to the left here, but that's not really what he does in the take where the camera's over here and we're looking forward at the screen. I've sort of skipped out these frames and then I'm gonna patch these two together. I may have to draw one frame in between these two because, his body stays very in the same spot, which is good, but his leg and his arm moves just a little bit too much, I think. So I may have to draw just a frame after here where his leg is sort of coming out just a little bit um, to match up with this frame a bit better. And then we're sorted. We export this and we put it into Premiere and mess about with it in there for a bit. So that's it really. Pretty sure I've gone through everything. I don't want to literally like draw like a whole frame because you don't want to watch that. Yeah. So there we go.